Hey everybody, welcome back to G-Dub's Point of View podcast. I am your host G-Dub. It's finally time. We're finally time for the G1. I've been looking forward to this all year since Wrestle Kingdom ended. This is kind of the next big event I look forward to apart from Dominion. For you first time watchers, I hope that you enjoyed night one of the G1. This is a full review. There's going to be spoilers. There's going to be talks about different paths taken and how the tournament's going to play out, how I see it playing out. So I hope you guys enjoyed night one. I thought the show was really good. Now, a forewarning kind of for these videos, I do plan on doing one for every night, so this is the one for night one. I'm not really going to watch the tag matches just because, for the most part, they don't mean much. I do have a couple points for for a couple tag matches tonight, but I for the most part, they're just the person in the next day they're facing the next day, they just have a tag match, and no one that's in the tournament's going to get pinned in a tag match. It's always going to be the undercard guys and all the juniors and guys filling in. So they're not super important. They're usually really short. So it's not really going to look at those, but definitely going to take watch all the tournament matches and see how the card progresses. So the couple tag match points I had was the Zack Sabre Jr. Kota Ibushi tag. The biggest story coming out of it was that Zack has now won a match with the Michinoku driver, which is pretty important as a guy that's only gotten wins in New Japan on submissions and roll-ups, to now have a big power move as his finish, or as a finisher that will win matches. That's a big story for him going into the tournament because it shows he has a lot of variety. The opponents can't game plan as well. They can't just be like, oh, he's just going to put me in a submission for a long time and not let me, and so they can focus on outpowering him. Now he's got a new move in his arsenal that can finish people. I think that was really important. It makes sense because Michinoku is his hype man. I really liked giving him that move as a finish. So that'll be fun to see kind of how his tournament progresses with that extra little caveat in his arsenal, which could be really important for potentially beating Ibushi tomorrow night, which I have predicted personally. The other tag match, of course, is the Omega Naito tag. It was really fun. The little 6-minute tag match. It wasn't anything too serious, but the main point coming out of it was having Omega and Naito really just shit talk each other for 6 minutes, and you can see it when they're facing off. They are speaking Japanese to each other, and clearly they're playing up. The angle of Kenny saying that all the Japanese talent doesn't work as hard as the foreign talent. Naito taking personal offense to that, and you can see them jaw-jacking in the ring, but they're doing it in Japanese. And then of course I love the ending bit where Kenny steals Naito's hat as he's walking off and does the two chest pumps into the flipping off Naito and then throwing him his hat back. I thought that was really well done, but it was a fun little tag. But seeing that interaction, because you only get to see it during the tournament year because they're two heel factions, they don't really face off against each other, and of course that match is going to be insane, so I'm very much looking forward to watching that tonight when it airs. Okay, so let's get into the actual meat of the card, which was the beginning part of the A block. The first match, of course, was Makabe and Yoshihashi, with Makabe getting the win. I don't know why I said Yoshihashi's name weird right there. I actually really enjoyed this match. I think this proved to me personally that Yoshihashi has some talent. He came in with a new look. He didn't wear the real baggy, pants and he didn't look out of place. Like, he came in with the super clean tights, new really big ring jacket, but it looked really good on him. Man, he was hella aggressive. I haven't seen him ever in a match like this. And of course Makabe was good, but the real standout was Yoshihashi. I think this made it not my least favorite match of the night because I was really impressed with Yoshihashi, which I previously stated in my G1 predictions video, how I didn't really like him. I didn't like his charisma. I thought he was pretty boring. This was really his match. He ended up losing, of course, but if this is the style he goes for every match, man, I'm gonna have to watch all the Yoshihashi matches, which is pretty fucking weird for me to say, to be honest. I didn't think I'd ever say that, but I really enjoyed it. Giving Makabe a win early is good. I heard commentary, Kevin Kelly say that he has had 8 points in his last 4 G1s. So, now he has 2 points already. So he probably won't get very many more wins. He'll probably get, stay around that 8-point range of getting 4 wins. So he's already got 1. He'll probably lose to some of the bigger names, maybe beat the lower end names, and just end up right in the middle there at 4 and 5. But it was a really good opener, especially to the tournament, and having Yoshihashi have this brand new aggressive side, and those chops were fucking loud that he was hitting. I loved him. It's really good to see him kind of break out that aggressive streak when he needs to. And he's trying to. I think he's trying to prove to people that he belongs in the spot, because a lot of people don't think he has earned the right to be back in the G1 tournament. And I mean, shit, if he keeps doing this, he's gonna have a spot every year, and I would not disagree if he keeps wrestling like this. So good job, good on you, Yoshihashi. The next match was Hangman Page versus Fale. I really liked the early angle where Fale just starts beating the shit out of Page, and Page turns it around, and he looks strong. I don't know if this was a talk between Page and Fale, or if Gato was involved somehow. Page looked great. He was knocking Fale over with clotheslines. Fale doesn't do that. He doesn't, there's not many people that can knock him over in matches. And Page was doing the just a standard off the ropes clotheslines, stumbling him to his knees. He did the flip over clothesline and completely flattened him. He looked incredible. I actually think this might have been my I like this. I think this was my third favorite match of the night. I think it might have been higher if but for the ending, which of course if you've seen the night, Tonga Loa comes out at it's an 8-minute match. Tonga Loa comes out about the 6-minute mark, 5-6-minute mark, and tries to interfere, or he does interfere and throws Page against the barricade, and then Page kind of reverses, and beats him up and gets back in the ring, dives onto Fale, and then hits his big, huge, perfect moonsault to the outside on the two of them. And it really looked like he might actually win, really cleanly. He goes for a pin on Fale. Fale kicks out, and then as you can actually see it on the camera angle, which was perfect, as soon as Page picks up Fale for the rite of passage, you can see Tama Tonga run out of the curtain area, and then he jumps the barricade, runs into the ring, and chop blocks Page, and they start beating him up, and they throw the ref out, who eventually calls for the DQ. So it ends in a disqualification, which happens maybe once a tournament. And of course, they beat him up for a little bit. Fale goes out to get a chair. They're about to hit Hangman, and here comes Omega, Ibushi, and Chase Owens to kind of clear them out. But I would have liked to see Page, if they're going to give him a big win, give it to him cleanly. I just don't. I think storyline wise, this was perfect. So I can't disagree with the ending too much, but it does make his Page's big first win of the G1 kind of muted a little bit, especially in a big opponent like Fale, literally and in the sense of on the card. So I would have liked to seen a cleaner finish, but I can't disagree just because of the angle they took with it, and really showing that Omega and the Bullet Club Elite, as they're called in the announcers area now, really have his back, and there really is two sides to the fight. But good for Page to get the 2 points early. I'm looking forward to seeing what he has to do, especially with the Okada match coming up. I'm really looking forward to that. The 8th match of the night, which was the 3rd match of the tournament, is Michael Elgin, and Evil. This is probably my least favorite match on the night, tournament-wise. Elgin got the win. I had Evil predicted for the win, but it was 16 minutes, and it felt like it was too long. I thought they were going for a good angle with Evil. I forget exactly what caused it, but somehow I think Elgin went for maybe a clothesline, and Evil got out of the way, and he hit the clothesline on the ring post, and then Evil really went to work on that right arm. And then there became certain points in his comeback where Elgin would just, all of a sudden he's hitting these big ass lariats with that right arm, and wouldn't sell it. And then as soon as they're done, he'd hold his arm a little bit, but then he'd go right back to going into big arm offense. And then towards the end of the match, he's selling the arm, and then all of a sudden he can do these big press lifts, and it looks like he's got no struggle at all doing it. I didn't think it was done very effectively. I think the two of them together just don't have amazing chemistry, because even though they're similar styles, they should work together well. They're both the bruiser style um, wrestlers. I don't think they work together necessarily very well. So it was my least favorite match of the night. I think I would think it was a good match, but I actually just enjoyed the Yoshihashi match so much more than this one, that it just has to be last for me. Of course, Elgin getting 2 points is fine. He'll get his 8 to 10 points probably, and that'll be that. He'll get some big wins. I think Evil will also be around the 6 to 10 point range. Starting off with a loss is kind of tough for him because he had such a big win last year against Okada as the champion. But we'll see. We'll just see where their paths have to go for this. The semifinal match was Tanahashi-Suzuki, which of course is a rematch from earlier this year where Suzuki got the win in the Intercontinental Championship match. And they've had a storied rivalry over many years, but they haven't had many singles matches, which of course the first one being at Wrestle Kingdom 6, and then I think it's King of Pro Wrestling in 2012. They put on a classic as far as pure wrestling. At first I wasn't feeling it. It's a short match, it's a 30-minute time limit. The match itself only went 14, and I didn't like the start. I don't know why, but it didn't sit with me well, and it started, I started getting into the flow of it more, where it made it my second favorite match of the night. At first I didn't like that, they went straight into attacking each other, and then Suzuki instantly put on a leg, he did one drop kick to Tanahashi's knee, and then instantly put on a heel hook for 4 minutes. The first 5 minutes of the match were spent on the ground. I thought it was kind of a boring start. With these two, I feel like you have to kind of build to that, which they did perfectly back in January, where they had the striking early, and then some big moves on the outside, and all these shenanigans, and then you built to the end of Suzuki, and then Suzuki would tear him apart, and then Tanahashi would get some offense in, and then Suzuki would go back to tearing him apart, and that's where the match finished. To start out the match with Suzuki just instantly tearing him apart, I didn't like the flow of that. And you can kind of tell by the crowd, because Tanahashi's so beloved, they weren't into it. I didn't hear that noise like you usually do for a Tanahashi submission attempt, like they did in Sapporo this year, where Tanahashi people are crying for him to escape the submission. I didn't hear that in this match, and I think it's because of how early they started it. Now they did, they got back on track later, and of course the big finish of the match is Tanahashi has Suzuki in the dragon screw hold, and then Suzuki slaps him, and then he switches legs and does an inverted dragon screw. I thought he tore Suzuki's ACL. I've never seen Suzuki sell that kind of pain before. He was screaming in agony, which is it was so shocking to me. And then to have, he hits 2 high fly flows, and that's it, and Tanahashi wins. But man, I think that's 2 big stories to tell now, just from the one move. You have Tanahashi, who's now going to have this inverted dragon screw, which put away makes even the toughest man in the company cry in pain. He's going to use that now in his future matches, and maybe in desperation attempts, maybe he's having a clean match with someone, and then he pulls out this inverted shit, and they try to sell it like it's a big injury move, and maybe get some heel wins out of Tanahashi. And then Suzuki almost has this underdog path now, because he has the knee injury from this inverted dragon screw, where it just tore his knee up, and maybe he comes out with a bunch of tape for his next match, and people really target it, and he has this underdog path through the tournament, which would be so different for Suzuki, because he's known as the big killer. I'm really interested to see this. That's what made it my second favorite match of the night. Wasn't necessarily the match itself, but the finish, and how the finish tied into the stories for the future of the tournament, and they made them very, very distinct, and they were well done, I thought. So I didn't enjoy the match at first, but I really was sold on it at the end, and the path they both now have and the stories they can tell are fantastic for the rest of the tournament. Of course, we get to the main event, which was Okada and Jay White. I personally had this match predicted correctly as soon as the schedule was released, and I saw that the main event of night one is Jay White versus Okada. For those of you that haven't seen a G1 before, it's very common for Gato to do a big upset on night one of each block. I don't remember exactly what it was last year, but usually there's a pretty substantial upset every both nights. And as soon as I saw that this was the one, I'm like, Jay has to win. And as soon as Okada lost that title, you're like, yeah, Jay's going to win night one. It was a brilliant match. Seeing Jay now compared to where he was back in January, it's not even like it's the same wrestler. He's so much better. He's really leaned into that heel side of kind of being his own man, and I'm so glad they didn't pull the trigger and put him in Bullet Club like they had teased back at New Year's Dash. But having being in Chaos and being his own man has really allowed him to flex his muscles as a creative performer and find his sweet spot, which of course he really showed at the G1 special in San Francisco, and he's starting to perfect here, especially against Okada. Okada's doing the whole, he's the lost man. He's got the new hair dye, he's got the new pants, he's got the new music. He's trying to separate himself from being the Rainmaker that was champion. He has to do something new. And so he's kind of, he's got a big smile and kind of running around being happy, and to have Jay White come out and just destroy him was great. Of course, they're stablemates, but they don't like each other, which was very apparent. You hear Rocky Romero on commentary. Not many, of course, kayfabe. Not a lot of people like Jay in the Chaos locker room, because he's just a shit stirrer. And to have a lot of callbacks to kind of the San Francisco match of Jay, just slamming his opponent into like a barricade. He did the flip suit, the head and arm suplex into the announcer's table again. He did that same spot towards the end, and I think that a dirty finish here really worked well. Now, a lot of people that maybe have watched New Japan for the first time, they haven't watched a whole lot, are going to call, oh, well, there's so many there was the disqualification and the dirty finish and all this shit. Like, why are they taking for WWE now? This has been going on a very long time. Original Bullet Club was very interference heavy. Double countouts and DQs were very common in early New Japan. So this is the dirty finish thing. It's not a new concept. They just don't do it very often unless it's effective to the story, which really worked here tonight because Jay was being such the arrogant douchebag, and Okada finally had him. Had to hit the spinning or hit the tombstone, had him set up. They did the great move where he does the ripcord, going to hit the Rainmaker, and Jay's flailing and knocks Red Shoes over. So Red Shoes is on the ground and can't count the visual 3 count for Okada on the Rainmaker. Then, as he's still down, and he countered, what was it? The chair? Was it a chair shot? Or Jay countered something to where he low blowed Okada, and then just hurled that chair at Okada's face, and he just knocks him out, and Jay picks him up for the Blade Runner, hits it, gets the 3 count. I thought it was such a perfect way to run the ending of that match, to tell the story for both men and the overall story for Chaos. And now I really hope Okada wins the G1, because I want to see that rematch at King of Pro Wrestling or somewhere along those lines, one of those events in the fall of the briefcase match. I would love to see this again with even a higher stake. I think it'd be so fun. This match was it was twice the length of most of the other matches on the card, and I think it was a good call to give them that time to really allow the story to be told inside the ring. This was definitely match of the night, definitely deserved the main event spot. Now you have Jay, who goes into his next match against Tanahashi, who has now been just brutalized by Suzuki and has that torn up knee. Jay could very well start 2-0 with beating the 2 biggest names in New Japan in his block for sure. Okada now starts on that 1-0 or that first loss and going 0-1, having no points. He faces Fale next. Fale always has a great showing against Tanahashi and Okada in the G1, and with Fale, having the DQ and not caring about results, it's very possible he could just be super aggressive and somehow come out with a win, and Okada really could start 0-2. overall, this show was just a beautiful, beautiful start to the tournament. Um, of course, the tag matches are so they're going to be entertaining. Of course, I heard about the whole Yano situation where Yano's trying his hardest not to cheat, which I think is great, and he eventually will cave to cheating towards the end, which will be fun. And so there's little things they can tell in the tag matches, but of course the real story is the tournament, and I thought all 5 matches were good tonight. I do think that the Elgin Evil match was my least favorite. Then it probably goes to Yoshihashi Makabe because Yoshihashi pulled out a great performance. And then Page and Folly because I liked seeing the antics, and the ending was good for the story they're trying to tell, and Page looked great as in his debut. Of course, Suzuki and Tanahashi put on a classic for second best match of the night. But of course, the main event had to be match of the night. And seeing those two guys really come out, and Okada putting on a great performance as usual, and Jay really stepping up to be a top heel and being booed out of the building in both America and Japan in the span of 1 week is fucking impressive. And I'm so looking forward to how the rest of this tournament goes. So thank you guys for watching. This tournament's just getting started, and I'm so excited for night 2, which of course is headlined by Omega versus Naito, the rematch of the past 2 of the best matches of the past 2 years. So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully that video will be up either the day it airs or the day after. So of course I will see you guys there. Thank you again so much for watching.